Hi, this is a Moulton I wanted to bring to the attention of people out there. This is what they consider to be the original Moulton design. The first one's produced after the launch in 1962. This is a Moulton standard narrow bellows. I'll go on to explain that. Excuse the car. Moulton narrow bellows that was made in the May of 1963. And so we'll dive into some details. So, as you can see, it's a 3-speed, chrome handlebars, original handlebar grips, chrome stem, and a high-backed front rack. Pretty common, you might say. That's fair enough. There were no braze-ons, so the cables were held on with rubber bungees. And as we come down to here, the front, this is the main reason why they get called narrow bellows, because there's only 1, 2, 3, 4 ridges on the actual bellows. The headset here is only 1 inch, so it's much narrower than the later editions. And as you can see at the top, 1 inch again. So the head tube, it might be the same size. The insert, the headset was much narrower, and so the splines, as you can see here, were much narrower also. So they have a different nylon spline bearing on there. Onto the original brakes, pretty much standard, and the forks, which are pretty much standard. So it's the headset that makes the difference. Also, an interesting addition here is the original tyres didn't have a dynamo wall on them, so they were just not used for dynamos, they were just ribbed Dunlops. So there's the original tyres, and wheels were pretty much the same as the later editions. Original paint, first paint on the frame, pretty much standard as the later models, you can see, apart from there's no braze-ons for cable holders. If we go up the seat tube, nothing much more interesting there. As you note, no K number here. This is interesting as well, because most of the models, the early narrow bellows, had a gold sheath on the adjustable seat tube clamp. Going up the table, the original saddle was brown. I've got one of those, the original brown Moultons, but I've replaced it with a Moulton with a Brooks, because I do ride this quite a bit. Coming down past that gold sleeve again, down onto the forks. Nothing much different in the rear forks again, apart from there's no cable guides. On the rear fork, you'll notice there's a little blip here to hold the cable. That was on the earlier models as well. And going along, 3-speed Sturmey Archer, 1963 hub. Again, no dynamo wall on the tyres. Pretty much as you would expect to see. Going around the back, there's another little difference. As you can see here, there's only 1 stay on the rear mudguard. There's no middle one here. This is a design fault, because the bracket by the brake used to break, so they changed that later on. So it's a single stay, and no rear reflector on the mudguard, as the rear reflector is screwed onto the back of the rack. Other things to point out as well, the original bike didn't have a rear strut going down to the rear fork, so this strut is missing. It's not missing, it just wasn't designed to be there. It was only when they found that this rear tube was bending, because people were sitting on it, they put the additional tube in. So, going around the other side again, just to emphasise a few points. So you'll see the high back front rack, no dynamo ribbing on the tyres, the narrow 1-inch headset, and 4 ribs on the bellows. Don't confuse those with minis, because the minis have a different rear fork. The original Moulton bell. Going through, I don't know if you can see that, but it's a number. There are 29 of these that I know of, these narrow bellows bikes, and I have a register of them. There's actually 30. One of them is just a frame and not a bike, but there's only 29. So they are pretty rare and probably more uncommon than you imagine. About any questions, give me a shout. And that is a narrow bellows, early edition, original Moulton design, of which I know there's 29 across the world left, and they basically, from what I can see, stopped producing these in around July 1963, because there's no model that I've got on my register later than this. The earliest one is January 63, after the launch in November 1962. Any questions, drop a comment below.